Park, the real life fun of harness racing. Here they come. An exhibition park.
Welcome to another episode of the History of EPR. My name is Scott Bernard. We have a treat today. I've been hiding it from most of you. I've been kind of teasing it for the last couple of weeks there. But today, we have a very special guest. And I'm going to kind of go over his accomplishments real quick here before we get into it. So, let me get my list here. You guys are going to know right away. But he won the Alexander Memorial in 1979 with Flying Caper. He won the Ice Racing Championship in 1980. He was the first driver to win $100,000 in a season only on maritime tracks. Won the driving title in 1979 with 117 wins. Won the Ruffin Barrieau in 1981. Won his 1,000th race in 1982. Won Provincial Cup 8 and Provincial Cup 9. And Provincial Cup 8 from 1985 is considered probably one of the best ones ever, which I searched for that video and couldn't get it, but we tried. And also won the Gold Cup and Saucer in 1983. So as everyone probably knows by now, it's going to be Marcel Barrieau. I'm going to bring him on right now. Hey, Marcel, how you doing tonight?
Good, very good. Yourself?
Good. I'm really good. And we're also going to bring Russell in. Yeah, Russell has to come in too. Let's bring Russell up. There's Russell. Hey, Russell.
Yeah, thanks, Scott, for listing all my accomplishments as a harness racing driver as well.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm really, first off, Marcel, I want to thank you for coming on. I know you're really busy. And I was pretty excited when Sue let me know that you wanted to join up. So very, very fun. So what have you been up to lately, Marcel? I know you've been gone away for a long time from EPR.
Oh, geez. I left there in 84, and then I went to Montreal from there. But I was, for the first 2 years, I was going back to the Maritimes to race my younger stock. And then in 86, I moved for good there. So I was 30 years there.
Yeah, and you went to Montreal, didn't you, for a bit there? You were in Montreal for a while?
Montreal for 30 years.
Yeah, oh, wow, that was longer than that, yeah.
And then I would, last 7 or 8 have been in Ontario, Toronto. Yeah.
And are you doing you're training a lot more now than driving, is that right?
Mostly training, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I like to qualify the babies in the spring when I come back, and then I don't very seldom drive.
Okay, super. So Russell was going to jump in here with a question. You can go ahead there, Russell, when you're ready.
Yeah, how you doing tonight, Marcel? It's great to see you, old friend.
Very good, Russell. Nice to see you. Yeah.
What we're going to try to do is Scott and I are both going to try to keep a format going where we each try to ask intelligent questions because we know you're going to give intelligent answers. And I'm going to focus a little bit more on the 1970s because that's the subject I know a little bit about. And Scott's going to come in with some. We're going to kind of segue into different subjects from maybe some of my questions, Marcel. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to obviously talk about some of your great horses, but I'm also going to throw in a couple of lesser known horses that tie into the subject as well. And I'm 100% confident, Marcel, that you're going to know all these horses and all these events. And you're going to have a lot of fun doing it tonight, sir.
Yeah. I hope I can remember that long.
No, we're gonna help because we're gonna have some pictures and Scott's done an amazing job, and we've been so lucky with some of the pictures that we've received over the last couple of years that people have put on social media. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, Marcel. So I'm going to start with your arrival because this is a history of EPR. So we want to focus obviously on a lot that took place during your time at Exhibition Park, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So you arrived here in Exhibition Week in 1972, and I know you do, but try share with everybody some of the horses because you started with a modest stable when you first arrived here, correct?
First of all, I arrived week after Exhibition Week because there was no room for no stall room, so I had to wait a week. But I did race Exhibition Week, and then I moved in permanently after Exhibition Week. But I went there with trading mirror, not much stock. It was just a I was just beginning my started to open my public stable, like, you know, and mostly my father's, my horses, and Trading Mary, 12 Filante, Pat Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fancy Flash.
No, that was the year after.
She come the year after, did she?
Come after that, yeah.
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 Yeah, we're gonna surprise you here with a picture here in a little while that you might like. So, but just to back up just a couple of months, Marcel, you came here in June for a very, very special event, and that was the inaugural Ruffin Barrieau Memorial from when your brother passed the year before. Mm-hmm. And do you remember who you came up and had a special invitation to drive and wore Ruffin silks? Do you remember who you drove, Marcel?
I remember Senator George win it. Who did I drive now?
Go ahead and put the two pictures up, Scott.
Yeah, I have it right here. Well, I have this is the photo finish right here. I'll bring it up a bit bigger here for us.
Yeah,
see it.
Well, that's a picture of the horse you drove, Marcel. That's not you driving him there, but you drove Miramichi Elmer that day.
Okay, yeah.
And he had a very, very respectable third and fourth in the two-heat event, and he was in pretty tough. But I know that it was a great thrill for you to drive in that event. And then I think Scott has the other picture of who you said won it, and there he is.
Senator George, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And I think Marcel, you mentioned before that Ruffin was great friends with Joe Gauguin, so it was great that Joe got to win that inaugural event.
Yeah, I remember well. He was some happy, like, I think might have been some tears there. Like, he grew up with Guy Gadet and Joe Gauguin, Harvey Cormier, and so they were great friends.
Yeah. I got some more pictures of Ruffin right here, actually. I'll bring up for you, Marcel. Mm-hmm. There's Ruffin. That's in Rockingham, you said, Russell?
Yeah, that picture there.
Advertiser Direct. That was, that's Rockingham.
Yeah.
And Advertiser Direct.
And we have another one here. I like this picture a lot. This is a really cool picture with him, the three horses. Yeah,
there's FTJ, NT Sun, and Prince Abbott. They were all owned by the Webbies. That was in Montreal.
Yeah. That's really neat.
And I think that picture, Marcel, illustrates something very. It's a beautiful picture, obviously, but I think it kind of shows what kind of a horseman Ruffin was to be able to control those three horses. Because my understanding is FTJ sent more people to the hospital than Marcus Welby.
Yeah, he was a dangerous horse, that fellow.
Yeah, so for your brother to be able to handle those three, I think were all three of them stallions as well, Marcel?
Yes, they were. Yeah.
Yeah, and we should take a moment too, Scott, to thank. I think that picture came from Rael Bourgeois' daughter, Marcel. I know you've seen it before, but it was in a book a couple of years ago by Jerry McCabe. Yeah. And just a classic picture of your brother with three great horses. So, but yeah, that was a great day. And then you made the permanent move to St. John and started to build your public stable. And we're going to move on to that in a few minutes.
But before that, like in 1970, I went up to Montreal to work with Ruffin, And from there, we spend the winter in Blue Bonnets. And then from there, we used to go to Foxborough, and then Rockingham. And Ruffin decided to come home there. So I was there. Me and Rael was working for me then. And we spent a couple of years there before I come home in spring of 72, in the winter of 72.
So I have a quick question, if you don't mind. I was going to jump in here. So I was just curious about, like, I know that your father, Leonard was your father. He was involved in the harness racing business. So for yourself, Marcel, were you involved like right away as a kid? Like, did it come pretty quick to you?
Yes, we were. Like, we had to help around the farm before we went to school and everything. And it never left me. Like, even we were raising a lot of colts back then to breeding, and then we got into the race horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you started racing? How old were you when you started doing it?
How old?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, really training, because I went through high school and technical school for a year.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I went on my own there after 6 months of working at the CN shop. That wasn't for me, so I quit that.
Yeah.
And then I started with the stable then.
Interesting. Yeah. Perfect. Great. Yeah, go ahead, Russell. I think you had something else you wanted to ask.
Oh, no. We're just going to try to go, Marcel, in chronological order, if that's okay. So we're going to, yeah. So we're up to a point now. We're going to jump ahead maybe a year, and we have another photo. And I know it's impossible to see who's in that photo, Marcel, but the winner is a horse by the name of City Command. And the reason I have that photo is because it was co-owned by my uncle Joe Smith, and also by one of your good friends, Mr. Doc Montgomery, owned that horse.
Oh my, yeah.
But the horse that's second in the photo is yourself, sir.
Oh, yeah.
And that's with a horse named Topical Bond. And I can't recall that horse at all, and I don't know if you can either. I don't think he was at EPR for long, but
no, I think he was one of Art Craig's.
Was he? Yeah. But it leads us into it lets us transition into your long-standing friendship with Mike Mcdonald. And Scott has some questions about that. Was that the first time you met him? Was it EPR? Because he raced here in the early 70s a bit, Marcel.
Oh, yes. I met him at, it was Brunswick Downs when I first met him. He used to come and race there in the fall, and I was always helping Ned Gogan there, Rod Gogan's father, with the horses. And I met him there. He was also playing junior hockey. Then I always had an acquaintance with him, and then he started coming to St. John and that. But really, Mike, he's the one that convinced me to go into Montreal, because I had horses, decent horses, at the time. And if I wasn't going, I had to send them with somebody. And he said, so I called him, what was the thing? He said instead of sending somebody, he said, come on up yourself. He said, you might as well come up. He said, your horses. And he said, try it for the winter anyways and see what you do. Well, anyways, when I decided to go, I got a good boost there because I had Angel Shadow and Silent Class and then Webbies. They wanted to send Wavor and Special Class. And so I ended up, and then I took Big D also. He was just a 2-year-old coming 3. I took him the first year. So I ended up having a pretty good stable up there. I done pretty well. So.
And I heard a story. I was actually researching a bit last night. Mike McDonald, he knew some famous people, I think. Did he not? He knew a couple of famous guys?
He knew everybody.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe, if he didn't know them, he was going to know them sooner or later.
Yeah.
So that's the way he was, but he was any type of a sport, he'd have somebody linked getting tickets or even concerts. He had somebody we went different times at the forum there. It was the forum then at concerts, and he was getting tickets for everything. He had more connections than the Pope, I think.
That's cool. Yeah, because I've seen that. It's like Pete Rose and stuff like that. I was like, wow.
Pete Rose, and then one time I had a horse for Matt Snatchlin. Yeah. And Eddie Pelshaw, there's a trainer for the Canadians.
Yeah.
He had a horse for a couple of years, and we got to know the city pretty good.
And I guess you were able to get into some hockey games as well, Marcel, by the sounds of it.
Yes, we did. It was a great time. Yeah.
Awesome. Really cool. So you want to go up to the next picture now there, Russell? I think we have traded.
Yeah, we might as well keep moving along because we're going to show a picture next of Marcel's favorite horse, one of his favorite horses.
I think that's Traded Mar. Is that the name of the horse? What's the name of the horse, Russell? You might know better
The
than that.
horse in the middle, Marcel, number 8, is Trading Mirror.
Oh, she was one of my favorites. All right, I still got some scars from her. My knee, I scraped my knee one time with her. She went down. Oh, she wasn't easy. She wasn't nice. She wasn't a nice mare.
Put the picture back up again for a sec, Scott.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. I stumbled across this as well, Marcel, and I knew that you had told me the story a couple of years back about her injury, and you still had the scars. So I thought for fun we'd let you reminisce with that little mare.
Too bad, because I was trying to forget her.
Well, but I also know, Marcel, because and you can probably speak a little bit to this. You had a pretty bad behavior one in Rockingham in '71 called Miss Lulu S. And yeah, and she was, and I knew her very well, Marcel, because I think the New England Patriots could have used her as a place kicker because
she was pretty good. She wasn't handy. You had to wait for her to come to you. You didn't go to her. Yeah.
Well, when she was here, Mo Doherty had her for a short time, and Mo was not scared of horses at all, but he'd be extra careful around her. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of illustrates too, Marcel. Would you say that in today's world, the horses are much better behaved than they were 40 or 50 years ago?
Oh, for sure. It's totally different. Like, now to deal with the horses, especially young horses, like, you walk them one day and then you put them in the cart and they go, and, the third day they're gated. And I remember some of them, it took us months to get them gated. And some of them never ever get gated. And they were like renegades, like, now they got breeding and everything. And before, like, they weren't handled like they are now. No,
it was much tougher. When you put the photo back up again, Scott.
Yeah.
And in this particular photo, Marcel, and we're going to kind of lead into a different area. That's not you driving her on this particular day.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if you want to hazard a guess on who is driving her.
Wouldn't be my brother.
No. Well, this fellow went on, my understanding, to be one of the top drivers out in Western Canada.
Gary McQuaid?
That's right. That's who it was that drove her on that day. And we have another picture of another famous driver right alongside, right around the same time. You have that one of Neil, do you, Scott?
Oh, yeah, there we are. Gonna have to zoom that in. Give me a second here. I'll bring this in a bit. There we go. We can see it better now. It was a little tough right there, but.
Do you recognize that almost famous driver, do you, Marcel?
That's Hilliard Graves, is it?
Well, close. It's a hockey player. It's Neil Nicholson.
Neil Nicholson? Oh, my. Yeah.
And the horse that you let him drive on this particular day was called Arthur's Wishes.
Arthur's Wishes.
Yeah.
Don't remember him.
No. Well, that's in, I think, 1974. But I have a kind of a two-part question, Marcel. Do you think if Neil had stayed with it, he would have become a much better driver than you throughout the years?
Any chance that he's watching?
He might be.
Not yet.
Let's say I'll leave that question up to him to answer.
Well, that leads to the second part of the question, Marcel. Do you think if you'd have worked out a little bit more in the off season that you would have become a better hockey player than Neil, David, and Blair?
Oh, I don't think so. I know my callings.
Okay. It leads Scott into something that I know that you're very well known for, Marcel, and that's for having people get their start as either trainers or go on to drivers, and giving people that opportunity. And those were just Gary, and having Neil get a chance to drive a horse that day was because you gave them their first opportunity. So And Scott, you probably had a question about some other ones that you might remember that you had working with you over the years, Marcel.
Well, just in general, I've heard stories about the, for me being, I was born in '78, so I kind of came around when the downtime happened. But I heard the stories about the '70s. That place was just happening. The barns, I heard that your barn was like the big barn to go to. That was where everybody went, kind of thing.
It was unbelievable. My wife Susan, she always said that was my retirement days. When we moved to Montreal, I had to go to work.
Yeah,
because we had a softball team, we had a hockey team, played twice a week, and it was we had a great bunch of fellas, and mostly involved with the horses too.
Yeah,
and then race night, I always had a bunch of fellas like Dave Nicholson and even Neil when he was home, and John Dalton, like my good friend John, and Billy Fennell, and I'm telling you, there was about 9 or 10, Mickey McDonald, and there was about 9 or 10. I know I'm forgetting some. Gary Marsh. They used to come and we'd race 7 or 8 a night, and then they all pitch in, and naturally I had horses for the Brian Mervyn stable, which Peter Murray and Mike Murray and Mel Vinson. Yeah. And they made sure we didn't run out of beer. So after the race, we had a few beers. So they were happy with that. Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting about that, Marcel, is obviously the Nicholson brothers, David and Neil and Blair. And then, of course, your brother-in-law, Billy, with his 2 older brothers, Terry and Jimmy. But all those people you were mentioning, they also had something else in common. They were all tremendous athletes, which is pretty darn important if you're going to work around horses to be in good shape. So you were very fortunate, but I certainly remember as a young boy, Marcel, your stable being a beehive of activity for sure, and all good fellas, all there having a good time. But somehow or another, all the work got done too, Marcel, and I think. It's safe to say that the industry is not quite the same now, all these years later from that.
Unfortunately, it's not. Maybe it might come back. We're working on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring up a video. I'm going to jump into a video here. Marcel, I don't know if you noticed this, but about 6 months ago, I got couple 70s videos. I got the 77 Alexander, but I got a few things from Bruce Maxwell, who, God bless him, Bruce comes up with everything. Every time I go to his house, it's something new. And I have a video here of what I think is you driving master copy. I'm not 100% sure, but it is written on the 8mm tape. The date, I have no idea. I searched and I hunted. I cannot figure it out. All I know is around Christmas time. And so I'm going to bring up the video and I'll let everybody know. Everyone gets, actually, no, there's no sound, so it won't be muted. So we can just kind of, if you want to, anyone can talk over it, but I'm going to bring it up right about now. So here it comes. And there we see it there, the starting gate, which the guy that did the restore this video did an amazing job. So you're in the 3-hole there, I think.
3-hole, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that the horse leading is Boyd Tremere and Gambling Dick. After that, I can't say, but I do believe that is Scott master copy with Marcel for sure. And I think that's Boyd Tremere and Gambling Dick. And I can't really get a good look, and I couldn't find it either, Scott.
But really cool. I love the 70s stuff. That's my thing. I mean, I can't. I would. Go ahead.
I tell you, there was a great bunch of drivers back then.
Yeah.
They could compete anywhere as they wanted to if they would have wanted to go outside.
Yeah.
A
lot of them did. You went away. Wally went away. A lot of the guys got really big in a lot of them places. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, in the wintertime, all Earl Smith, and they all send their stable there. All the barn area, you couldn't get an empty stall there for save your soul. Yeah.
That's what Aubrey was saying. Aubrey was saying half the time, when I did the interview with Aubrey, he was saying half the time you couldn't get in. If you're from away, it'd be hard to get in.
Oh, no. I had to wait for a week. I couldn't go exhibition week because they were jam-packed, and Mr. Caldwell was good enough to, he said, you come next week, I'll have your barn ready. So
nice. Yeah. I remember just being, even in the 80s, I'll tell you, while this is going, one of my fondest memories is watching you race Angel Shadow in '85.
Yeah,
I remember the Provincial Cup, and I remember that being just the end all for me. That was the coolest thing ever, watching you guys go to the wire. I didn't get to see the '70s stuff, like I said. I've been searching, but it's not the easiest stuff to find. So here you are coming up. I think you come up here right at the end. I think you might be in first right now, or you're gonna win definitely.
Yeah, we wouldn't show it if you didn't win, Marcel.
Yeah, Jesus, nice of you, anyways.
Well, I do have one where he doesn't win. Actually, I do have one coming up later. He comes second.
And that little horse there, like him and I remember Al Petit, they kind of started Jill's career going driving.
Yeah.
I used to put him on them too, like week after week, so he'd know the horses and kind of learned the ropes. He was young then.
Yeah.
It also speaks to, Marcel, is back in that era, horses weren't just here for 6 months and gone. They stayed in the same stable for 5, 6, 7, 8, even 10 years sometimes.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
That's so true. Like yeah. And you kept racing them year after year after year, and you never got rid of them, like, unless something happened or whatever.
I seen. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, guys.
No, go ahead. Right. Yeah. Go ahead.
I seen Belly Locks in a race in like 1986, I think. Yeah. I was recording. I'm thinking, how's Belly Locks in 1986? He was racing in '77. It just blew my mind that the horse was still around. Like Matt's Jet that my father drove. I heard Matt's Jet like all the way in like 87, 88. I'm thinking, wow, that's impressive. I mean, so that was the race there. Again, it's somewhere around Christmas time. I'm positive, but I'm not 100% sure. So we can bring up the next picture, which actually Russell asked me to put them together, but I couldn't. So we're gonna just do them quickly. And you can go with this one here, Russell.
Yeah.
There you
go. I'm being a little biased here tonight, Marcel, because I wanted to focus on a couple of horses that were not just maybe some of my favorites, but fan favorites as well. And I think this mare, who you set the track record with in '77, was definitely probably one of your favorite mares during the decade.
It was. She was a real good race mare. Like, do anything, leave. You could race her any which way. She made it to the top class, and I think she was in the Alexander Memorial one time.
Yeah, we showed that on one of our earlier podcasts when she finished third in the '77 Alexander. Yeah,
there was an accident, but she was good enough to get an invite for that, and she wasn't out of place neither.
Yeah,
that's kind of a mare she was.
Here's the next one there. That's the next one, Russell.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll recognize that horse, Marcel, or not, but he was another fan favorite, one of my favorites.
That's no, I can't think.
You had him a couple of times over in the mid '70s. That's Wendell Mcdonald and My Sampson.
Oh, My Sampson, yeah. He used to bring him home and leave him at times, and My Sampson. I used to get a lot of horses from the island.
Yeah, well, that's exactly where we were going with this little blurb. Is it seemed that as you started with Public Stable, Marcel, you started to get support from. There were so many island horses coming over in their own stables, but it seemed that the fellas were leaving some with you for the winter or for the spring, and maybe you could speak a little bit to that about how you got started with the island connection to start building your stable with horses from PEI.
Well, Tom McPhee, he was one of the first ones there, and Truder Ab, and he said, just try her, see what she's going to do and everything like that. And then she started doing so good, and he left her with me year round. The only time he'd take her home was whole home week for a start or two and bring her right back. So I don't know, a lot of people there, they just kind of send them to me, and they'd always ask me if I had an empty stall and what horse, and they were all mostly decent horses that could pay for themselves and make money, so.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And even Ronnie Gass, he sent me some, and Art Craig, and McDonald, Wendell Mcdonald.
Yeah, well, right around the same time you had My Sampson. I know that, and this maybe is the connection again to Mike McDonald, because you also got to race Chickarella Bird in the 75 Alexander. And was that through Mike McDonald, was it as well, Marcel?
Well, Art Craig, I had horses for him too. Bayside Dazzler.
Bayside Dazzler, yeah.
Yeah, and I had always had a bunch of horses. Like, and he was coming for the summer. Art wanted him home for the summer, and the deal was I would race him till Mike came down to the island, and he was going to take him there. So that's why I had him. Yeah.
So I was going to go next here, jump right into getting around Flying Caper. So here's this.
Oh, just take the picture down for 1 sec there, Scott, if you can.
Yeah.
We're gonna quiz Marcel again. In the autumn of you probably remember Marcel, of course, many big races that Doug Caldwell put on, and one of the events that he had was called the Autumn Gold Series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 5-week event where the horses would race each leg and accumulate points for each race, and then at the end of it, somebody would be declared a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in '78, it was so competitive, they have 5 different winners in each leg. Sartoris, Joe Gauguin, Standing Room Only with Paul Bernard, Beck Door with Guy Gaudette, a horse you know pretty well, Scott, Scotch Common.
Yeah, Bill Nicholson.
And then finally, Maple Leaf Robbie with Henry Smallwood.
Yeah.
So they had 5 different winners, very competitive. And I don't know who was in charge of doing the point calculation, because at the end of the event, guess who the winner was, Marcel?
And let's bring it up now.
Flying Caper.
Oh, no, my bad. Here we are. There it is.
Yeah, Flying Caper.
So isn't that something to show an event go 5 legs? You don't win one of the legs, but you manage to have a tie with Steve Mason and Adu Hanover, another favorite. And there's Flying Caper, and that was how he ended his season in '78, which led to big things to come in '79.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's your good friend John Dalton holding him there, isn't it, Marcel?
That was him. Yeah. That was him.
Yeah.
But John, he was playing for just to come back to that, he was playing for the senior hockey team, and he was such a kind fellow. Like he didn't want aggressiveness or anything. He sat out 1 year so he could play with the EPR ponies. In the hockey. Yeah. He had to sit out 1 year. That was the rule then before you get in the house league.
Yeah.
So he played with us for a couple of years.
We'll start getting into Flying Caper because we'll jump right to it. You won the Alexander Memorial with him in 1979, which I got that picture right there of you with Flying Caper. So what's your memory of that, Marcel? Of winning because the Alexander to me is a huge deal. I love that race when I hear about it. What do you remember that much about that race with Flying Caper?
Well, I remember the series quite well. Like, and he was just getting informed. Like, we got that horse. We bought him in the fall of a 2-year-old off Webby's. That was the Brian Mervyn there, Mel Vinson, and the Murray, Peter and Mike Murray. And as it turned out, he turned out to be quite a horse. Like, he started in the maidens and he made all his way up to the Alpine Autumn Gold, like, in the falls.
Yeah.
That's how much he improved, like,
Definitely.
He was just a 3-year-old then.
And then he won he would have won the Alexander before the Autumn Gold.
No, he won the Alexander after. Yeah.
That was the first year I raced him.
Okay, and then in '79 he won the Alexander.
He come back as a 4-year-old and win the Alexander.
Yeah. And I have another picture. Where's he at? I have one more picture of him, which I thought would be kind of interesting to bring up. That's you with him in 1980. That would have been the next year with Flying Caper. Real nice looking horse. Very nice looking horse.
Yeah. Oh, he was a good, handsome looking horse. Yeah. Big horse, too, good size. Yeah.
I'm reading the article here right now, Marcel, that Howie Trainer did with you the day before the Alexander in 1979. And I'm going to quote here for a second is he asked about your chances with Flying Caper, and you drew the rail that day, which is obviously where you want to be. And he said, "My horse likes to race off the front, adding that he would go as far and as fast as he could and hope it would be enough. And then Howie asked if anyone in the field could get around you if they leave, and you replied, not unless he can go faster than I can, because I'll be cutting it if I can.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened that day, Marcel. You went to your strength, and Flying Caper was strong enough to hold everybody off.
Younger years, how cocky can you get, eh?
Well, you warned everybody beforehand what you were going to do in the race, and you went and did it, Marcel. So
I bet you that wouldn't work nowadays.
no,
That would never work. No.
yeah.
I also have here another video. This is one where you don't win, but it's a Gold Cup 79. It's the last about 30 seconds. I want to thank Mike Ellsworth for this video because he actually supplied me with it. I had edited it a bit because I think that Mike's one of the nicest people in the world, love him to death, but that sound was horrible on that video. So I got the sound off that video. I took it right off. So I'm going to bring it up. This is basically, I think, the halfway point, maybe right around the backstretch, but this is Gold Cup 1979, and this is Flying Caper. What place did Flying Caper finish? Was it second he finished?
I finished third.
Third, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's bring it up now. Quality, it's older, so it's not the greatest quality, but it's still fun to bring up. So there it is right there, 1979. And I don't know. You guys should talk over this.
I actually have an anecdotal story about this night, Marcel and Scott. Mm-hmm. I am actually on. You can see all the people hanging over the fence as they go past the 3/4 pole.
Yeah.
Well, two of those two nitwits hanging over the fence were myself and Randy Phillips. And at this point, there you could throw a blanket over the whole field.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
And we were watching and cheering. Randy was cheering for obviously for the St. John horse, Marcel. That was you and Flying Caper. And I have to confess that I am responsible for something very bad, because Randy looked over at me and said, as they were coming around the last turn in a bunch, I think Pops can hang on with Flying Caper. And as soon as he said it, I looked and said, no, I don't think so, Randy. As soon as Al Leiter squeezes out, he's got this race in the bag. And no sooner did I say it, that I think, Marcel, did you go to give Flying Caper a little swat with the whip and maybe just touch Al Leiter a little bit in his nose?
Yeah.
And then he ran sideways, scattered the whole field, and Kuiko, like a true champion, stormed through and took the Gold Cup and Saucer. Yeah. So I want to say publicly, Marcel, that I apologize and take full responsibility for costing Al Leiter the 1979 Gold Cup and Saucer.
Oh, well. We can't re-race that race.
No. But no, that's a true story. But it was, you went to your strength again that night, Marcel. You went to the front. Mm-hmm. You had Saunders Glory and Doc Moore challenging you and chasing you down. And you had, and in all seriousness, Kuiko, because I was right hanging over the fence, Kuiko was locked up solid. I didn't feel he was ever getting out of that hole until that little mishap on the last at the top of the stretch where that poor little Al Leiter broke stride and scattered the field, and Kuiko was the benefactor of that. Yeah. But a great race, and I know, Marcel, you would probably feel the same way. You have to have good breaks in this sport, and sometimes good breaks translate into big wins as well.
Yeah. That's in every sport too. Like, you watch the hockey games, you watch the football games, a lot of luck goes with that. Good luck, like not bad luck.
Baltimore knows about that from Sunday. I'm a Kansas City fan, and when he fumbled that ball, and it's funny, I'll get back to the racing thing, but I was on my phone and someone wrote, I'm getting real sick of CHSH, which is the guy, the running back, and within a 5-second span, he fumbled it. I'm like, oh, and yeah, but we're not gonna get into football. Because I'll rant like a maniac.
Yeah. So after that race, Marcel, obviously Mike knew that it was just an accident, and it's unfortunate that his horse broke stride. But obviously that didn't change your relationship in any way with Mike. He knows it's just horse racing and it happens.
No, none whatsoever. Like, we never ever argued about anything like that. Like, Mike was never that type neither. Like he went his way, and what happens, happens. You know.
Yeah.
I got a nice little picture here. You'll like this one, Marcel. This is the EPR softball team.
There we are. Yeah.
Yeah, my mother posted it there. So there you guys all are. My
Yeah.
my uncles are in there, and I don't know who everybody is in there, but I see you there. I see Vic in the back and Blair Nicholson there. And who's the lady holding the trophy? That's what I'm curious about.
That's Sylvia McDonald.
Okay.
Yeah, she used to be the clerk of the course there for years. Sonny
Okay.
McDonald's wife, it'd be Ross and Bruce and
Okay.
Hyde. That was right after the year after John and Sonny died, not that long ago. Before neither. So we had a game to honor them.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Sonny died in March, and that's obviously this summer. That was the summer of that year. Yeah.
September, and then Clyde, he was died the following year. After we played the ball, I think it could have been. I'm saying 2-3 weeks after, or he got killed on the farm in a tractor accident.
Yeah.
Clyde McDonald. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
that
read
was-
somewhere. Go ahead, Russell.
I was just going to say, no, that was a tough 1 and 2 years for losing some of the really good guys of the sport during that time, Marcel, for sure. But again, that picture of the ball team, and I mentioned it earlier, you had a lot of great athletes that gravitated towards the Barrieau Barn, wasn't there?
Yeah, most of them, they were all there, like Terry Cunningham, I see there, and
Yeah.
Brian Spike and Dovey Gillis, and there's Wally, my right-hand man.
Yeah.
They quite a crew. We had a lot of fun.
I heard you guys had away jerseys and home jerseys. Like you guys had the whole caboodle, like everything going on.
No, that was
Was
just a joke. That was
Oh yeah.
Wally. Wally probably lost. I think he lost his uniform, so he was wearing the hockey sweater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm gonna jump right in here real quick because I got something really cool. Is you did some ice racing and you won in 1980. I have a picture right here of you ice racing. I have 2 of them actually.
Yeah. Every year they used to have that in the wintertime, and the first year Francis McIsaac went,
Mm-hmm.
and then the second year I went. Then Wally went the third year.
Okay.
So, I win. When I win. So I had to go the following year to defend my title. So, and then Wally win it.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 years after, they had a 10-year reunion, and we all went back. All the winners went back. So I went 3 times to the ice racing.
So what was that like? I'm just curious about that. That's a pretty interesting thing to me.
It was on the Rideau Canal, and there was a stretch there, over a quarter of a mile. We raced a quarter of a mile, and then you had to pull up your horse. It's like, in the first year that they had that, there was over 40,000 people there.
Wow.
Yeah, all the people, you could see them all above the canal there, and it was just amazing. Like, it was a cold spot some days.
Yeah, I
Some
imagine.
years, and they used to bring different drivers, like from all over Canada, even the States. Like Phil Yons were there one year, and Billy Houghton come, and Stanley Dancer. Like, they used to come for that. Yeah.
So that was a pretty big deal to win that. I would assume that's a big deal to win that.
Well, it was for prestige. Like, it was absolutely no money involved. They sponsored you, and you went up and put on a show, like, but the organization was A1, like,
Definitely.
I don't know if I want to be going down the ice on a horse. I can tell you that.
Well,
it's funny too. Like the first year, they had a lot of trouble with horses losing shoes, eh?
Yeah.
And when they lose shoes on the ice, it's very dangerous, and you can hardly keep them up if you do. And so the next year they were organized. They had the blacksmith. They had them all shod for the ice race, and then it was much better as it went on.
Definitely. Did you want to touch anything? Because I was going to jump into silent class, but if you want to touch anything, Russell.
I think we're moving along really good here. What do you think, Marcel?
Very good.
I think we're going to come up on a couple of your top horses are coming up here very soon. I think.
Yeah. So I was going to mention Silent Class. I got the race, the Gold Cup that he Silent Class. I don't want to say he because I'm not sure if it's a he or a she. I'm not positive.
It's a he.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I didn't want to say it just in case.
Yeah.
But yes, I do have that Gold Cup from '83, the full race, and it's black and white. Totally kind of veering off topic. They had everything in black and white, the PEI up to like '87 or '88. I think Mike told me all the videos.
The Gold Cup.
Yeah, like all the videos that they had in Prince Edward Island up to like the mid '80s were all in black and white. They didn't go color till like the mid '80s. Right? Yeah. Mike was
a lot of the old races are still black and white for sure. Even when color came in. Yeah.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about Silent Class, Marcel, and then I'll pop up the video there, just a little background on the horse?
Yeah, Silent Class. He was a good racehorse, but he wasn't a handy horse. Like, he couldn't leave, and he'd brush his knees a little bit, but he was a tough horse. Like, if they went up the front end pretty good, like you could move him anywhere and he'd bring it home. Like, he wasn't a big winner, but always get you seconds, thirds, and he was a real good racehorse that way.
So how did you feel about going into the Gold Cup? Do you think you had a shot at winning it when you went into the race?
Well, I knew I had a shot, like, if everything went my way. Like, he was good enough that he was never out of it. Like, and if they went good fraction or if they battle up front, I knew he could pick up the pieces. Yeah.
Super. Great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and bring this race up. This is the Gold Cup and Saucer from 1983. I'm not sure what edition it is, and I'm not going to try to do the math. I could try, but I won't. So here it is. Gold Cup and Saucer, 1983, Silent Class with Marcel Barrieau.
Silent Class, Marcel Barrieau. 3, Spin and Dandy, Albert Bernard. 4, Autopilot, Wally Hennessy. 5, Miracle Report, Paul McKenzie. 6, Winners Accolade, Gary McDonald. Colwood Clipper, 7, Mike McDonald. 8, Big Q, Sonny Rankin. Here they come. They're off, and a Miracle Report and a Spin and Dandy battle for the lead into the turn. Silent Class are racing third. They're 3 wide as they race to the 8. Spin and Dandy, Miracle Report, they go to a break. They race on up the backstretch to the opening quarter. It's Silent Class with the lead. Volgawell racing second. Colwood Clipper up on the outside third. They're racing to the opening quarter. It's Silent Class with the lead. On the outside, Colwood Clipper second. Volgawell racing third. Winners Accolade sits fourth, some 5, Big Q. And it's Autopilot, Spin and Dandy, Miracle Report trails. 29 and 2 by the opening quarter. They come off the turn racing for the half. It's Colwood Clipper with the lead. Silent Class racing second. Volgawell third. Here comes Winners Accolade now to the outside fourth. Big Q following fifth. Racing through the stretch for the half. It's Colwood Clipper. Winners Accolade on the outside second. Silent Class. They race by the half. Winners Accolade to the top. Colwood Clipper racing second. Silent Class. Big Q on the outside fourth. Volgawell fifth. They race by the half a minute flat. Racing into the turn to the 5/8. Colwood Clipper. Winners Accolade race neck and neck. Silent Class racing third. Big Q. They race to the 3/4. Winners Accolade to the top. Here comes Silent Class on the outside second. Colwood Clipper. Big Q on the outside fourth. They race by the 3/4. Winners Accolade with the lead. Silent Class now to the outside second. Here comes Big Q. Autopilot wide fourth. Racing by the 3/4 on to the 7/8. It's Winners Accolade. Here comes Silent Class on the outside. They have an 1/8 of a mile left to go. On the outside, Silent Class racing second. Winners Accolade. Here comes Autopilot. They race through the stretch. Silent Class, Autopilot on the outside. Right down to the wire. It's gonna be Silent Class, Autopilot, Big Q, Winners Accolade, Colwood Clipper, Volgawell, Spin and Dandy, and a Miracle Report. 10, the Gold Cup and Saucer. Pace your number 2 entry, Silent Class.
I should have watched the race before. I said he'd never leave, but he left that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's kind of funny because I was there for that one as well, Marcel, and I don't know if everybody remembers this, but there was a recall And the recall, I think it took a little bit of steam out of Winner's Accolade, but that is, as they say, that was a perfectly placed drive by you with Silent Class that night, Marcel. You let Mike and with Colwood Clipper and Gary McDonald with Winner's Accolade and battle out, and you just stayed in the hole, and you went right to your strength, because you said about Silent Class, he was a little bit funny gated at times, wasn't he, Marcel?
Yeah, he was a kind of a poker-legged horse, like,
Yeah.
They had to review the video because they thought he went on a break at the wire.
Right at the wire.
He just kept rolling in the hobbles. He never made a jump or nothing.
No, and that's what I recall of him too, Marcel. He had just that. It was almost like when he wanted to dig in more, he'd have like a little bit of a mild skip to him or something as he was digging in. But no, he was definitely not going to be set back for lap on break. So no. So, but another fan favorite for sure, Marcel. He was.
Excuse me. Yeah, you hear the Islanders saying that the Gold Cup and Saucer is a good race. The favorite, it was to me too.
Yeah.
Oh, so,
was that after I'll tell you, we partied that night.
Yeah.
It was a fun time.
So, yeah, because the Gold Cup, even like now, I mean, that's the end all.
Exactly.
There are times, right? Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
I know. Even like I had a friend of mine, actually my roommate, who I sent up to his room while I'm doing this. He's up in his room playing video games. He never even watched harness racing, and I was watching the old home week all week on the on YouTube.
Yeah,
and he was getting into it. Like he liked it. And I said, "That's it's great racing in the island." I mean, and I have a really cool picture you'll like here, Marcel. This is you with getting the trophy.
Oh yeah,
and all the people around you there. That's I actually have the Scotch Goman trophy up on my mantle up in my living room. That one's a bit bigger because it's a couple years later, obviously. So so pretty big thrill, I'd imagine, winning that race.
It is, yeah, it is. It's all the build up to it, eh?
Yeah,
definitely. The spotlight and stuff like that. And
yeah,
you hear the crowd. The crowd is amazing. There's no booing in there. They cheer every horse, and they respect the animal and us too, so it's always a big cheer. Sometimes when they cheer, the horse, they get a surprise scoring down, they'll take off, they'll say, "What's this?"
I think it's cool at the end, the crowd looks like half the crowd's on the track. Well, at the end of it.
Yeah. Well, at least they stopped that so much because for a while there, all the people were coming on, and you could hardly get to the winner's circle with the horses. So,
I don't think
they try to control that a little more now.
And I couldn't see the horse being too excited about all them people around him or her who wins the race. That wouldn't be a good scene. But yeah, that's a really cool race. That actually came from also Mike Ellsworth. He's my guy. If I need island stuff or anything like that, I go to Mike, and he comes to me for stuff. And but yeah, so we're gonna kind of just jump right into what, in my personal opinion, and I do remember this a little bit, the favorite race I ever seen live was Provincial Cup 85 with Angel's Shadow. I did have a couple stuff from 83, but I thought, we're going to go right into Angel's Shadow winning Provincial Cup 1985. I had the picture. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the video. I searched up and down for that video, and nobody has it. It's just I have the 86 one, which I got that, but the 85 one was impossible to find. But here's a picture of the photo finish, which is it's a little bit. There's probably a better view of it right there.
There's Wave R and Supreme Jade.
Yeah. And you broke the record. Did you break the race record in EPR that night? 157?
57 flat, I think it was. Yeah.
I think for me, that was probably the big deal for me because around that time, I was at the track pretty much every Saturday with my grandfather, and I was trying to sneak over to the barns when I wasn't allowed to. They were like, "Don't go to the barns." I'm like, "Yeah, I won't." I'd sneak over until I cut my chin open, and then that was the end of that. But yeah, that was a huge deal. Do you remember much about that race, Marcel?
For sure, I remember. That's the year I spent the winter in Montreal with this horse, and I had Wave R also. So when I come back in the end of April, the 30th of April, I stayed till, and I brought Wave R and delivered him back to Webby's, and then I raced mine, like, you know, and so anyways, when I seen they were in together, every time I seen them together, like, you know, I said, oh, geez, this is a good horse.
Yeah.
And Supreme Jade, I had raced against him in Montreal, and Fillion, he's kind of cool customer too, like, you know, and heading up the backstretch, I remember I'm cutting that out, and I remember Fillion's his tricks too, like,
yeah.
So he up the backstretch, he said, take back. He said, just me and you. He said, just me and you. I said, yeah. I just drove away then. I went for all the marbles there.
Yeah.
He made me win the race, I think.
Yeah.
Because I started at my horse right up the backstretch. I said, if you're going to beat me, you're going to beat me going faster, yeah. So
I know
we win it.
Bill Nicholson Jr. told a story about him remembering this race. This is Bill Nicholson Jr.'s favorite race. Not seniors. It would be Bill the third, Junior's son. Junior's son, yeah. And he had made a comment because he had messaged me and asked me if I had this race, and I said no, I don't. This was months ago. It's his favorite race, and he told a story that I think the rain was coming, and they were trying to get you guys to the gate quickly, so you didn't have to race in the rain. I think it was, or something like that. It might have happened.
I think now you're saying that there was something like, you know, they rushed us right to the gate, like, you know, before the rain came down, because they were always looking to break the record, like track record and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Very interesting. Okay.
I have a question. I've always been curious about Angel's Shadow, Marcel. I know you raced his mother, Bomb Flash, and she was just a conditioned mare. She's a pretty good looking mare, and I think she had a pretty good gait to her, but I don't think she ever rose through the classes. And Angel's Wave, I know that Frank Fagan and Rod Jameson drove him a lot during his career, but you also won with him in 1977 in an invitational in Exhibition Week. So my question is, who came up with the idea to breed Bomb Flash to Angel's Wave of all the different options out there?
Well, I think Murray Wade owned a pair of them. He owned a pair of them, and he just happened. He wanted a colt by Angel Wave. Yeah, and he had the filly too, the mare by then, and so he just bred it and raised it himself. Yeah,
just one of those things
just because he had the two of them, like, you know. Yeah.
And Angel's Wave was obviously a nice little horse, but I'll stress the word little. He was a tiny horse, and again, Bomb Flash, that's maybe the same. But then to produce a great size champion like Angel Shadow, it just goes to show you just never know in this crazy sport, do you?
No, you can't plan the birth, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But the mare was a decent size, like, you know, not big, but Angel Wave was tiny. But what a nice little horse he was, just like a Cadillac to do anything with. Like, he was one of the nicest horse to drive in the races, you know, I ever sat behind. Yeah.
I have another picture of Angel's Shadow. This will lead into the Provincial Cup from 1986, which I got basically half of the race. I didn't get the full one. It came off a video Best of 86. But this is Angel's Shadow with you in 1986. I think this is an EPR. It may not be.
No, that's in Moncton.
Okay.
They had the boxcars. They made a barn out of the boxcars. And the second year I come home from Montreal, I decided to go to Moncton because it was central for all the stake races. Yeah. I had a bunch of all stake races, Dunmore, Tweed, and I had a bunch there for Willis. Mm-hmm. And I decided to go to Moncton because it was central. Yeah. That's where that was. They had the boxcars, and I had 8 horses in there.
Very nice. So I'm going to bring up now, unless you want to add something there, Russell. Before
I was just curious about the breeding with Angel's Shadow, but no, I want to see him race again here, Scott. Bring him up.
Okay, so this is Provincial Cup 86. Again, it's only half of it, but it's still something. So we're going to bring this race up right now. Provincial Cup 1986 with Angel's Shadow.
In the $15,000 New Brunswick Provincial Cup, August 29th, at Exhibition Park Raceway, Angel Shadow and driver Marcel Barrieau were on top for every step of the 158 and 1 mile.
Through
through the stretch they come racing to the half. Angel Shadow cuts it out, has the best of it by 2. Rosadan is second. Here comes RT Time. Up on the outside, racing on to third. Behind it with cover goes Paris Dexter. The half in 1, a 50 and 59 and 1. Around the top turn, Angel Shadow. Angel Shadow a length and a half. Rosadan RT Time now gets to second. He's at the leader's wheel. Rosadan racing third. Paris Dexter out driving fourth. Gemini Risk fifth on the rail. Ajo goes to sixth. Tobic Power trails on to the 3/4. Angel Shadow a length and a half, and they were by that marker. 1:28 and 3 around the top turn. Angel Shadow, RT Time racing second. Paris Dexter drives on strong third. By the 7/8 they head for home. Angel Shadow, Paris Dexter driving up strong on the outside. RT Time, Gemini Risk is coming on, but it's going to be Angel Shadow. He wins Provincial Cup 9.
There we go. And I forgot to tell you guys, it actually mutes you when we're watching the video. I apologize if anyone.
No, that's all right.
It's just
I think the viewers would rather hear Ingham than me anyway, Scott.
So
I love listening to Ingham Palmer.
Oh, Ingham that voice, that unbelievable. I'll get to this race in a second, but I'll tell you the 84 Provincial Cup. It was also, you were also driving Angel Shadow, and Winners Accolade won it. And you're coming up around the 3/4 mark, and Ingham calls, "Look who's at his wheel, it's Angel Shadow." And the crowd's going absolutely crazy, right? Like, Ingham was so great. Like, just amazing announcer. He could get us all excited.
I've heard a lot of them, and he's still one of my favorites. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So what was your memory of that race, Marcel? You kind of went from wire to wire at first, pretty much, right?
Yeah, he was a handy horse, eh? Like, even in Montreal, like, he raced the top class there. And when they said go, like, this horse was always on top. Like, then you control the race. Like, you just let him go his race. Like, there was no driving him. Like, you just let him go. He'd back off himself, wait for the other horses.
Wow.
When they came, like, you just wake him up and away you go. Oh, he was a pleasure horse. Like, he wasn't bred to do what he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my first memories was him in Winners Accolade, like being 6-7 years old and always hearing about Marcel Barrieau. Because I think, when I got in there as a kid, I'm not trying to be a suck up, but this guy was like a king. Like, Marcel Barrieau was the man at EPR, right? To me, at least. I remember asking my grandfather about him, my dad. I think my dad might even get a little jealous. Like, why do you like him so much? What about me? But no, it was a big deal. And that was my two first memories was Winners Accolade and Angel Shadow. When I started getting tapes and I'd hear their names, it would like flash me back to that time frame. So very, very cool.
I was going to say, I noticed a pattern there too, Marcel, that in these big races, it seems that you want to be on the front or pretty darn close to it, and that's probably good advice for somebody when they're driving in a big race. You don't want to be near. You want to be right near the lead and let them come to you. And you won a lot of big races that way, sir.
Yeah, especially on a half-mile track. Eh?
Yeah.
Like, even a stake race, like, you stay away from trouble or whatever can happen. Like, but it don't always work out the way you plan, though.
Yeah. Ask Scott Scommon that in the Alexander 77, which I have that video, and I've heard the stories. I would have liked to have been a fly in the wall in that bar. My grandfather seen that horse go down, because I know Scott Scommon was okay, but I could imagine my grandfather wasn't the happiest camper on the planet.
No,
so
you don't like to see that.
No, definitely not. I'm going to bring up another. This is kind of an interesting little clip in the newspaper, and maybe you can kind of shed some light on this if you remember this. The EPR Family Feud. Do you remember that, Marcel, at all?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
So would you guys race each other? How would that work? I was always curious about that.
No, we were all in the same race. Eh?
Okay.
We're all in the same race. We'd compete against each other, like, I don't know, maybe 5 races or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And top point getters, I forgot who won it. I know we didn't, I don't think.
I'm actually not sure. I have another picture, which is really cool. I think that's oh yeah. The same. I think it's the same. And I think the Hennessy's won it. We have it right
Yeah, I
there.
think the Hennessy's won it, Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, they're holding the trophies, so I'm assuming they won it. Yeah.
They got the nicest smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Bill Senior there, and we got Steve and Wayne Mahar and you and Jill, which is a really cool picture.
Yeah.
I think someone posted that on the page, and I can't remember who it was. And this is a cool one. I know I'm kind of burning through pictures here, but this is a fun one that I found because I actually Googled your name, and this here is a trading card. A trading card in Montreal they had of you.
Yeah.
So all the drivers had trading cards.
I still got them.
Oh, really?
A bunch of them, yeah.
Neat, yeah. I found that pretty cool that you guys had trading cards.
Yeah.
So
they started that there one year. They had a whole bunch of them, all the drivers and different things.
So go ahead.
I got a set somewhere there in storage.
Yeah. Oh, you mentioned the storage. We talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I hear about videos, my eyes light up. When the old generation, like, I have tapes. I'm the guy you want to give tapes to because I get all excited for that.
Well, we might do business then.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. We can keep in touch because I will not turn down tapes ever. I turn into like a kid at Christmas time. I know when Steve and Twyla brought over that little. I remember Twyla messaged me on Facebook and said, "I got some tapes for you." I said, "Oh, I'll come get them." She said, "No, we'll bring them to you." I'm like, and then she brought this trunk in. And I'm telling you, when I open this trunk up, my eyes is bing, like lit right up, like 83, 84, 85. And I just, oh my goodness. I think I stayed up for 2 weeks straight taping all them tapes. I was so excited. We're almost winding down. Just a quick question, a few things. For yourself, like first off, who's the best horse you think you ever drove out of all your horses?
Well, that comes to the same thing as a hockey player. Like, who's the best? I mean, every horse got their strength, their weakness, and then when you get one like I think I had Wavor, I had Sherwood Abe, and I had a little horse there. I paid $5,000, Almerhurst Cruiser. He was just kind of a fluke. He was a good horse, and the Angel Shadow, and you go on and on and on. But
it's hard to pick one.
They always said, and heard this, that when you got a good one, if you lose them, it's tough to replace them. Mm-hmm. That's a true story because they don't come every year.
Yeah,
definitely. I know. Go ahead, Russell.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to on that subject a little bit, Marcel. You're being modest because Almerhurst Cruiser went to the Meadowlands and won a division of the Barrie's Mills against the top drivers and top horses, top 3-year-olds that year. Yeah. As great as all those other horses were, that's big time when you win at the Meadowlands against O'Donnell and Campbell in Brennan with that little Almerhurst Cruiser. He was a sweet little horse. He was. He
was something else. Yeah. If I knew what I know now, you might have approached it different. Keep him from myself, that fellow. Yeah.
So I'm going to show 2 more pictures, and then I think we're pretty much going to wrap up. This one here is you with song class.
Yep.
Bring that one in there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Russell. Explain that picture. I think
you know more than I do. I was going to say, Marcel, we decided we would end with 2 pictures of that I think you'll be very fond of. And I don't know if you've seen this one before, but when I mentioned earlier that from a fan perspective, and you mentioned yourself, Marcel, Silent Class was maybe not the fastest horse, but he had a quality that all fans like in a racehorse, and that was his toughness. Yeah. So I thought that we'd show another picture of him. Yeah. With you, and I think that was him winning in the Autumn Gold Series actually. Mm-hmm. And then the final picture that I think Scott's going to cue up here in a second is I think we can all agree two icons of maritime racing right there. Yeah. And I know you've seen that picture many times, Marcel, but what a beautiful picture that is of 2 of the best that Atlantic Canada ever had.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
definitely. That's a really nice picture. So, yes. Well, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank you, Russell and Marcel. Huge thank you. Sorry, Russell. Huge thank you to you also. I don't want to bring it down. But I want to thank everybody. I wanted to say quickly to everyone that watches the podcast, I appreciate all the support, all the nice words. It's awesome. And Marcel, again, I know you're busy. I appreciate taking the time out of your night to come on and tell the stories. A lot of fun. And we'll definitely keep in touch. You know, if you're coming around and you want to stop by with some tapes, I won't deny you.
For sure. And I want to thank you and keep doing the good job you're doing, and
I appreciate it.
Keep promoting the racing, because that's one thing we know. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
Hey Marcel, it's the only thing I know anything about, old race horses from the 1970s. So it's all good.
I have a family connection to it, and I have a passion for it. You know, I'm not always around it, but definitely want to keep it going. So thanks everybody for coming in, and thank everybody for watching. And until next time, everyone have a great night. Stay safe. You know. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Take
care, Marcel.
Yeah. Take care.
See you later. All right. Bye-bye.
Just watch it live at Exhibition Park. Come on and live it at Exhibition Park. The real life